Hey, welcome back. Jeff Marshall here. Today we're going to take a look at the major sounds. We've kind of up to this point focused mostly on minor sounds, but of course we want to get our major sounds together because those are the two main sound of harmonies that we're going to play over out there in the real world. So we're going to look at the key of C major today, and before we jump into any kind of in-depth concepts, what we want to do is just establish that basic root sound playing over just a C major chord. So of course we're going to use the C major pentatonic, but we can also outline some of the chord tones using that C major triad, and that will also give us kind of our home base when we play something that has down the road that might have a little bit of tension to it. By establishing that major sound, we can get back into it and hopefully make everything sound good and resolve nicely. All right, so we're in the key of C, and we're going to look at a couple pentatonic. This is major pentatonics. That's kind of our outline, and within that major pentatonic, we're going to look at just the C major triads that are found there. So the patterns that we're going to use for the major sound would be C major, starting from the root here. So that's a C major pentatonic. That's kind of like our skeleton. And within there, we can see the C major triads starting from the root here. There's the low end of that. And then the top part of that would start from the root here. Okay, we got the 1 major, 3rd, and 5th. And then, of course, we can also add the root here on top if we want to. So that's the C major triad found within that C major pentatonic. And you might be saying, well, I'm already playing a C major pentatonic. Why would I need to know that? It's already kind of baked in. And that's true. But the C major pentatonic and the C major triad, you know, there is a few notes in the pentatonic scale that's kind of outside of the chord. So I would definitely want to know where the chord tones are. So if I play something that's a little bit more extended on down the road, I can get it back in by seeing those. Now, one thing I will note, when I'm playing more major sounds to me can sound potentially maybe a little bit too nice or too happy. So a lot of times when I'm playing a major sound, I also kind of add in the minor third. So if we have this major triad here, I also want to kind of see this. I kind of like to see that major third. It adds a little bit of grease or chromaticism, whatever word you're looking for. It just makes it sound a little less square. And this is usually also how I approach my pentatonic scales when I'm playing a major sound. I'll play my major pentatonic scale, but I'll put a minor third in between the major second and the major third just to give it a little bit of grease. Now, in this particular pattern, a really convenient way you can do that is you could play the minor third, up a minor third from the root here, and you can play the major third on the B string here. So you get this kind of a little bit of dissonance, but it sounds kind of cool. So that's a lot of my approach to playing over major sounds, just to kind of get it out of that super nice majory kind of almost hokey kind of sound. So if you see me doing that, that's what I'm doing. The other pattern, the other shape we're going to use is based up here around this C-shaped chord. And I might extend that a little bit down here for a C root here. And again, I also, in this case, also like to add that minor third in between. Okay, so if you see me doing that, that's what's going on there, and that's just kind of naturally baked in my playing, and I think it's a really good way to kind of solve that problem with that kind of overly major kind of sound. Okay, so we got our major triad found in our major pentatonic down here. And then in this position here, we have it here. And like I said, I like to break it up into 2 octaves, so I might just see this, and then maybe play a pentatonic scale from there. Or maybe I'll play just the top octave here, starting kind of from this D-shaped chord. And you want to practice kind of splitting that triad up That's kind of the sound of the chord we're playing over, so I definitely want to be able to get to that, but I want to also blend it in with my major pentatonics, and in some cases adding that little minor third that we talked about. So, some of the strategies that we've talked about before with being able to rearrange notes of the triad, of course you can start from different inversions of the triad. You don't have to always start from the root. A lot of times I like to start from the third in this position. Maybe even sliding into that from that minor third. And sometimes I'll put the root down here. So I can really kind of establish that C major sound in this position. Same thing here. You want to see the triad, but you want to break it up and kind of combine it a little bit with your pentatonic scale. And this is just kind of a little bit of an exercise, but it make you aware of the chord and the harmony that you're playing over. And of course, if the chord changes, you might want to change with the chords also. So it's just a little bit of a good training tool. So I'm going to play over the backing track a little bit. I'm going to just start simple, playing some of the triads, playing some of the pentatonic, and then start mixing it up a bit and try to work in some vocabulary, rearranging the notes a little bit, and just getting creative and having some fun. So let's check it out. Okay, great. So, really nothing too spectacular there. Again, just trying to establish my root sound playing over that C major chord. Of course, we're going to, like we did with our minor sounds, we're going to start adding some different triads, but it's good to kind of establish that sound and also get good at, rearranging and getting creative with some of these structures. That will help add to your vocabulary. So what I was kind of focusing on there, it was mostly focusing on the actual chord tones and then adding in some of the pentatonic scale as I went. And hopefully you heard I was adding in that little minor third to major third move, which kind of, like I said, it kind of softens up that major sound and gives it a little bit more grease, and to me sounds a little bit more pleasant. So even though I'm playing in a major pentatonic, which obviously incorporates that major triad in there, I want to also kind of pull that major triad out, because when we start adding in some more avant-garde sounds as time goes on, I might need to resolve back, and I want to really get to those chord tones. So it's good to kind of establish that sound. And then of course, you can get creative with that information. You can rearrange those notes. You can add some chromaticism. You can add it in with your pentatonic and hopefully build up a whole vocabulary with that sound. So go ahead and give that a try, and I will see you on the next one.